Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle, here with my host today, Aaron and Siege. Go ahead and say hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Alright, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, in this video, we'll be talking about the absolute collapse of the Philadelphia Eagles. Started off the season 10-1, into the season 11-6. Yeah, 11-6. That's how many games are in the NFL. Finished the game 11-6 after losing 5 of their last 6 games, and capping that all off with an absolutely humiliating loss to the 4-seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were 9-8 in the regular season, so not exactly the most formidable foe. And the Eagles lost 32-9. So not the best showing for the reigning, defending NFC champions, who now have to watch the rest of this year's playoffs from home. Aaron, what are kind of your thoughts on the collapse that the Eagles have just went through?
Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying it's a surprise considering the teams that make it to the Super Bowl. You know, that's a tough next year.
Mm-hmm.
With typically all the players they lose, some coaching turnover.
I mean, not
happens,
for the Chiefs, because the Chiefs make the conference championship game every year, but go ahead.
Typically. Like I said, typically. But the Eagles, yeah, I mean, they lost both their coordinators, and I think it shows that Shane Steichen really kind of was the offensive mastermind behind last year's success. I mean, they had no plan for stopping any sort of rush that the Bucs had. They got home with rushing 4 and just kind of sat back. I mean, granted, Bulls did a great job mixing pressure in, but there were times when they just rushed 4 and the line was like a sieve. They couldn't stop anything.
Yeah,
it just looked really bad, and then that defense. Ugh, man,
that defense is so bad.
Tough.
They kept adding to it too. That's the craziest thing is they added what was the linebacker from Indianapolis? They added. I know they added Kevin Byard from Tennessee. They added or maybe it was an end from
Shaq
Indianapolis.
Leonard?
Was it Shaq Leonard? Was that who it was? Yeah, it wasn't DeForest Buckner.
No.
I can't remember who it was.
Shaq Leonard.
But yeah, they added Kevin Byard through trade. They added Julio Jones, who made a couple big plays this past week against the Bucs, but
He got hurt.
Until he got hurt, and I mean, in all honesty, he's just not the same that he used to be. A.J. Brown being out obviously kills you. Devontae Smith isn't used to being a number 1 receiver, although I do think he has the potential to be. And he showed flashes of that in this game. You know, obviously he had the 1 touchdown. They scored a touchdown. Yeah, because they went for 2 and missed it. So he did score the 1 touchdown for this team. Had some great run after catch, but I mean he can only do so much. DeAndre Swift was good when he got the ball, but they hardly ever went to him in this game. Probably because the Bucs kind of got out to a lead early. Siege, what do you think's kind of the next step for the Eagles after the collapse they had this year?
Get rid of everybody, just like I said about the Cowboys. No, I'm just kidding.
Woo! Fire everybody!
No, I don't think it's that drastic with the Eagles. I think, really, I mean, I don't know what happened the second half of the year where they literally just stopped playing defense. But that's never.
Well, they changed DCs. That might have something to do with that.
There we go. There's your answer right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my answer. Play defense.
Yeah.
They should have got beat worse than they did against the Bucs because of a few drop passes.
Yeah.
Like Mike Evans and the tight end who I have his name right.
Kate Otten.
Yeah, there we go. he dropped the pass. I don't remember his name, but they should have got beat worse than they did. And I mean, whenever whenever an opposing offense is just catching a groove that like early on in the game, they're just going to keep going and ride that momentum for the rest of the game. You have to find a way to stop them in consecutive drives. You can't just like allow them to go down, score a field goal, allow them to go down, get a touchdown, allow them to go down and get another field. You can't allow consecutive drives to end in scoring opportunities all the time and expect to be in a ball game, let alone win. So, I mean, really, I think that's the biggest thing right now is finding a way to stopping opposing offenses.
Yeah, they may not be looking for a new head coach this offseason, but at the very least, they'll probably be looking for a new defensive coordinator. For their sake, I hope they just get rid of Matt Patricia altogether, because why? You know, he's awful. He's always been awful. The only time he was ever successful was whenever he was, you know, getting carried to wins by Daddy Belichick and Big Daddy Brady. But
Or Matt Stafford.
yeah, poor Matt Stafford having to deal with that guy, that buffoon, for like half a decade or whatever it was. But yeah, get rid of that guy. That'd be my first step. Honestly, I would look at getting rid of the head coach. I think when you have a collapse like this, you got to start looking at, you know, did the head coach lose the locker room? Because especially in this game specifically, it looked like the Eagles just kind of gave up in the first quarter. You know, once that little bit of adversity hit, once they realized that we're losing, now we have to try. It's so hard. But, you know, outside of like a couple guys like Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Jaylen Herz, Devontae Smith, and DeAndre Swift, you know, the majority of the team just seemed like they gave up. And that starts with the head coach, you know. They also didn't seem like they were prepared at all for a Bucs team that, you know, they're not a hard book to figure out. It's pretty simple. They kind of base everything, at least in the last few weeks, they've based everything off of the run game. Rachaad White's been getting going recently. And then once they get the run game going a little bit, they start doing some play action with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield starts getting into a groove, finding his confidence. Baker Mayfield ends up, you know, throwing for 2 or 3 touchdowns. But the Eagles look like they were surprised when, you know, the Bucs would throw the ball downfield. They were not expecting, you know, who was the other receiver? Not Chris Godwin had a great game. K. Dotton had a few good catches. Mike Evans had some drops, which kind of killed him. But there was the other guy who said he woke up feeling angry. Can't remember who it was.
Oh.
The other receiver.
I know you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
Whose name escapes me. I'm so sorry. You know, Baker Mayfield just throwing downfield dimes to all these dudes. And granted, the Eagles' secondary has been bad all year, but they seem like they were surprised to see the Bucs attack their weak point, which makes no sense.
Trey Palmer?
Trey Palmer, yes. So I definitely think the Eagles should look at maybe firing Sirianni. But you know what? I'm happy for him because he won his Super Bowl earlier this season when he beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. You know, he got his big moment, that big win of his career. So I'm happy for him. I'm glad to see.
Won his Super Bowl?
Yeah, he won his Super Bowl. He really did. You know, he went out on top in Arrowhead. So if this is it for him as a head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, hey man, at least you went out on top. But I'm sure Jaylen Herz and the rest of the guys would have liked to win an actual Super Bowl this year. So, Aaron, what are your thoughts on Nick Sirianni's future?
I don't know. I think it's still maybe a little too early to get rid of him. I think they're gonna have plenty of turnover in the off season as it is. I mean, they're kind of an old team. I mean, they already lost.
They are. Jason
Kelsey to retirement. Yeah. I mean, Lane Johnson's in his 11th year.
Last year was deal.
Brandon Graham, he's in his 14th year. Fletcher Cox is in his 12th year. Bradley Roby's in his 10th. Slay's in his 11th. So they've got a lot of I think, holes that they're going to end up having to fill anyway.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball. So I don't know if you want to go into if they just want to start completely fresh, new coach, and fill all these spots or what. But I think he's had enough success to kind of keep him around, buy him another season at least.
It would be wild to see a coach get fired 2 years. Right, 2 years after making the Super Bowl, would that be when he technically gets fired? Because 2 seasons,
Yeah.
I guess one season. I don't know how that would. I don't know how time. Yeah, but it'd be wild to see him get fired. You know, the season after he made the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, I think another person you got to kind of question, and kind of same as Sirianni, maybe he doesn't get replaced this offseason, but now you kind of start asking whether or not you should commit to him, this guy long term. Is Jaylen Herz the guy? Because he had that one great year last year when they made the Super Bowl. But this year he had a pretty rough season compared to that. I know the turnovers specifically were really, really bad. His passing numbers weren't anything too crazy. And then, you know, in my opinion, he's kind of a douche. He's just like, have you heard some of the stuff he says? It's just so douchey. Like,
Who?
oh, Jaylen Herz, he like speaks in like fucking like poetry. It's annoying. It's so freaking annoying. He sounds like such a.
I don't harbor the same hatred for Jaylen Hurts that you do.
I don't have hatred towards Jaylen Herz. I don't. I think he's cool, dude. He just like some of the stuff he says. He comes off a little douchey. That's all.
Also, didn't they just extend him?
Did they? I've heard some people say that he may be the problem. Which
I haven't heard anybody say that.
Me?
Oh, you?
I'm saying that now, I guess.
People,
I don't know. I don't
yourself say that
I'm pretty sure I've heard that. Maybe I'm making stuff up. I don't know. Let's entertain it anyways, you know? It's fun. I don't know. Movement is fun. I can't... I don't know. Where's...
Yeah, he's got a contract through 2028.
Well, you know. You never know what'll happen.
Also, his dead cap hit for 2025 is like 91 million.
Hey, look at the Broncos. Like I said, I'm not saying this offseason. I'm saying within the next few years. Are you starting to question whether or not he might? Okay, Dak Prescott, for instance, he got a contract similar to that 3 years ago. What are we saying about him now? We're saying like, oh crap, they got to move on from him. Like, I'm kind of wondering if we're going to be saying that about Jaylen Herz here in a few years.
Yeah, but Dak Prescott has never made it to the Super Bowl.
Okay, and Jaylen Herz has never won a Super Bowl, just like Dak Prescott.
Okay, but he's made a Super Bowl. He's been there.
He kind of carried by the defense, but sure. Last year's defense was not this year's defense.
I'm not saying it is, but they had a very good offense last year. They scored 35 points in the Super Bowl.
When you have to beat, you know, a team with no quarterback in the conference championship game, you should make the Super Bowl, you know?
Okay.
I mean, the Niners had no quarterback. They were playing Christian McCaffrey at quarterback, so...
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to argue with you about this. Okay.
I'm just saying, man. I think it's time we start asking the question. Let's start it early. Start it early. We started it late with Dak. We need to start it early now. I think patience...
I don't know if I ever started late with Dak.
Patience is not a virtue. You know? It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Patience is bullshit. It's now or never, guy. It's now or never.
I have a question.
What's
then.
up? What's up?
So why do you like Baker so much?
Because he got fucked. I've made that
so,
clear because he got screwed.
so if I mean,
He was good right away.
patience is not a virtue. He underperformed, so they got rid of him.
He had the greatest at the time rookie season of any quarterback in history.
Yeah, but it
He
wasn't
won
good
the
enough.
first.
They got
He
rid of
was.
him.
He won the first playoff game in Browns franchise history since they were reestablished as a franchise.
Patience isn't a virtue.
The Eagles won a Super Bowl before Jaylen Herz got there. He walked into one of the best teams in the league.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
And I'm just being a hater here. Let me hate.
Exactly.
You know, shout out Jason Kelsey though on a fantastic career. He's one of the few good ones up there in green. But unless y'all got anything else for this episode of the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swift Chair Sports, I've been your host, Zach Circle Mark Burkle, here with our coach today, Aaron and Siege. Go ahead and say bye, guys.
Bye.
Later.
All right. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this rant. Other than that, deuces.